Voice AI isn't just coming to real estate, it's already here. In this video, I'll be giving away my proven 3-step process that you can apply to start mastering AI voice agents in the real estate industry within the next 30 days. If we take a step back, the voice AI market is set to hit $47.5 billion by 2034. So we're in a perfect position in history to take a slice of this for ourselves. And to put some numbers behind it all, one real estate agency replaced 8 team members with a single AI voice agent and tripled their sales without adding any ad spend. This isn't just theory, this is happening right now. And if you're watching this video, you're either going to join them or you're going to get left behind. And OpenAI's Sam Altman was spot on when he said the world will change much faster than most people think because of AI. And so far, he's 100% right. But if you're new here, I'm Mike. I've spent the last 2 years in the AI space, and now I help business owners and real estate pros use AI to scale smarter and earn more without burning out. So if you want to cut through the noise, hop on the AI voice agent train, and steal the 3-step adoption strategy that my team and I personally use, then let's get straight into it. All right, so I've got a really interesting video planned for you guys today. And if you happen to be one of these people who are in real estate, if you're a business owner, or even if you're somebody who owns an AI agency and you're interested in jumping into voice agents, but you're not quite sure where to start, then this entire masterclass that I'm about to show you is geared exactly towards how to get you from zero to deploying your very first AI voice agent within the next 30 days. And because this is going to be more of a tactical video, if you're looking for a more hands-on, demo-focused video, then go ahead and check out this video that I made that takes you through my top 4 AI voice agent systems for real estate so you can get a better idea of what a lot of these systems look like in action. You could access everything that I'm showing you in today's video so you can save it and apply it for yourself if you hit link number 2 down below and join my free community. But let's take a quick look at what this video is covering today. So for this 3-step AI voice masterclass, we're going to start off by taking you through step number 1, which is running your own AI audit and covering some of your AI voice fundamentals so that you know exactly where to start, what the context is around all of this, and so that you can actually pin down the right solutions to implement. Step number 2, I'm going to take you through some of the tools of the trade, some of the things that will help you be successful in the long term here, and so you can get an idea of what your options are from here on out. Finally, we'll hit step number 3, which is going to be where I give you your 30-day game plan. This will put everything together that we've covered, and it'll show you exactly how to go from zero to getting your first AI voice agent deployed, of course with a real estate focus for this video. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this and hit step number 1. So for the first step in this masterclass, we're really going to be focusing on building your fundamentals and making sure that we're starting with as much intel as possible. And in order to understand how your AI audit's going to work, let me cover a few AI voice fundamentals for you just so that you can have a better idea of what the big picture is here. So regardless of what type of voice agent you're going to be creating, there's going to be a few different components working behind the scenes. So the first thing is going to be an actual connection point. And because a lot of these AI voice agents involve calling lists of leads that you source yourself or that you already have, we're going to have to make sure that we have a clear connection into that database to actually pull those leads from, or to source them if you're running an opt-in or an ad-based campaign. Number 2 is we're going to need an automated lead intake system. So in other words, how are our leads going to go from our connection point into our actual voice agent? That's what our automation is going to handle. If you're curious about getting ahead with AI but don't know where to start, I'm putting together a private community just for you. Inside, you'll find exclusive courses, Q&As with me, a library of AI agents you can use today, and a growing collection of other resources that give you everything you need to start scaling your business and start saving 5 or more hours every single week with AI within about 90 days. If that sounds interesting, go ahead and hit my first link down below to get access completely for free. Or if you're a business owner or a real estate pro and you're curious about adopting AI and ironing out your AI strategy without the headache, then hit link number 2 to book a one-on-one call with me and my team. Anyways, let's get straight back into the video. Number 3, we're going to actually take into account our goal and our scheduling. In other words, what do you want to achieve with this voice agent? Do you want to reactivate old leads? Do you want to call inbound leads within 60 seconds of them opting into a form? Do you want to use an AI voice agent to call people to remind them to show up to appointments? No matter what your goal is, we want to make sure that we understand that so that we can arrange a scheduling system. And this is going to tell our voice agent how often it needs to fire and what its entire operating procedure is behind the scenes. And now this takes us into our actual AI voice agent, which is going to be powering the entire system. And if we look deeper into the AI voice agent itself, there are also a few components within this aspect. And this includes things like your prompt, the tools that you connect to it, your post-call analysis, which can also contain things like CRM connections, and finally your metrics and KPIs to make sure that your voice agent is on track to accomplish what we actually set out to achieve. So these are going to be things like our answer rates, positive response rates, booking rates, and so forth. And finally, we have our long-term oversight, which is going to deal with the big picture here when it comes to scaling these voice agents once we have them built. Now that we have our fundamentals out of the way, let me just tell you about these 3 phases of value creation so that we understand where we're actually going from. Also so that your audit, the rest of step 1, as well as steps 2 and 3 make more sense to you in their full context. So there are 3 phases of value creation when it comes to implementing voice AI into your business. If you've never implemented AI, never worked with any of it, then you're going to be in the survival phase. And this is essentially referring to the fact that you realize you have a problem, maybe you're bleeding opportunities, maybe you have a lot of inquiries happening out of your business hours and you just can't handle them. Whatever the case is, there's some struggle, and voice AI is presenting itself as a potential solution. Number 2, our efficiency phase is going to take place once you actually decide to start implementing voice AI. This is where we start actually seeing our progress gains, time gains, and boosted conversions here from actual experience. From here, it becomes a lot more logical to move into phase 3, which is going to be our scaling phase. And this is going to be where we can multiply our output without hiring anybody. This is really where AI shines, is our ability to start small with systems, test them out, figure out what works, and then just pour jet fuel on everything that we've discovered and really scale everything to the moon. All right, so now that we've got all that out of the way, we can actually jump into our mini AI audit here to actually help you formulate a position and start tackling some actual AI voice strategy. So as you know, an AI audit can be a very involved process. And because I know everybody's busy and not everybody has the time to dedicate to this, I've condensed my usual process down into 4 questions that anybody can ask regardless of your skill set or how familiar you are with AI. So let's have a closer look at these questions. Number 1 is going to be, what tasks are repetitive and high volume? So in other words, what are those time drains that everybody absolutely hates doing and you wish you could just completely get rid of? Number 2, what tasks are costing you money that you don't necessarily need to spend? Or to expand this, what tasks are costing you more money than they ought to and could potentially be dialed back if we were able to systematize them and really reduce them down into something that could be a lot more scalable? Number 3, what tasks have the highest impact on your revenue? Now, not all of these tasks under number 3 are going to be automatable, but you'd be surprised how many of them are. And this is why I would want you to be able to discuss this with your team members and really understand what drives business so that we can start to identify where the best use cases could potentially be for AI. Finally, number 4, what tasks are your agents or your team members complaining about the most? What are those things that everybody hates doing? What are the things that make you dread waking up in the morning? What's taking you away from all of the high value tasks that you may have identified in step number 3? And because this is a beginner masterclass, I really wanted to keep this AI audit as lean as possible. All right, so once you've actually had a chance to go through the AI audit and understand what your team is actually going through here, there are 3 tiers of AI solutions that you'll end up coming across. These are going to be arranged by how difficult they are to develop versus how high their impact is. So tier number 1 is going to be all of our instant impact, easy development use cases. These can involve things like lead qualification and lead scoring agents, or even after hours lead capture agents. None of these are terribly difficult to implement, yet they can have a nearly immediate impact on the way you do business. Tier number 2 are going to be our higher ROI solutions, but they're also going to be slightly more difficult to implement. These could be things like appointment setting agents and reminder agents, as well as lead nurturing and re-engagement agents. Now, these agents become a little bit more nuanced as you move up the ladder here, and this is why I've categorized them into these different tiers so that you can identify where the solutions that you're finding in your business can fall on this entire matrix here. And then finally, tier number 3 are going to be our most advanced AI agents. So these are going to be high development time, high difficulty, yet also high ROI. And these can include things like property info hotlines, virtual tours and Q&A systems, mortgage pre-qualification agents, or even multilingual support systems. Now, based on everything we just discussed, let me give you this little piece of information to really organize your solutions and help you get the most out of your AI audit. So what you're looking at on screen is an implementation map, at least a simplified version of one. This is designed to actually allow us to prioritize all of the solutions that we have uncovered, and so we can get our ideas down on paper to allow us to really nail down our direction here. And because you might find somewhere between 2 and 5 AI solutions as you do your AI audit, it becomes extremely important to prioritize them correctly. So you can copy this exact chart that I'm using here, where you label your use case, estimate roughly how much time it'll save you, estimate the revenue impact from low, medium, or high, and then use these findings to number them by priority so that we can work towards uncovering the easiest to develop, but also highest impact solutions that you can start working on first. And as I said here, this is going to become your Bible for the next step. So make sure you take this step seriously. Make sure you take the time to organize yourself here, because this will end up being a tremendously valuable exercise for you. All right, so to build on step number 1, let me actually give you a little resource here to help you get started as you move into step number 2 and start developing some of your own voice agents. So every voice agent that you're going to be working with more or less follows the same structure that I have outlined on screen here. So my team and I really look at training AI agents as if they were employees on your team, which means that you have to outline operating procedures for them to follow. And these 4 steps will give you a general direction on how you can start to structure those voice agents to make them as easy as possible for you to build. Number 1 is going to be giving an introduction or a warm greeting for every lead that we're calling or receiving a call from. Number 2 is going to be our info collection, and this is going to be where our qualification really comes in. So all of the questions that you really want to ask people in order to determine what quality of a lead they might be, this is where you're going to include that. Number 3, our qualification is actually going to involve scoring those leads based off the info collection we got in number 2. So this is where we teach the agent what separates a high versus a medium versus a low priority lead. All 3 of these steps were acting as an escalation process that ultimately lead to our call to action, which in most cases is going to be booking an appointment, scheduling a meeting, or making some some similar arrangement. And with that said, because I know how much prompt engineering can be a pain for people who aren't used to it or haven't built much experience in it, what I'm giving you right now is the bones of a master AI voice prompt that's based off of the actual structure that my team and I use for our real-world production cases. Now, obviously, what you're seeing on screen here is very simplified and just reduced down to its base elements so that you can understand what's going on here without being overwhelmed. This will still give you a fantastic start for getting your voice agent prompts right. And again, if you wanted to copy this exact prompt I have here, you can go to my free community, pick up this resource, and then copy and paste this prompt either into your voice agent or into ChatGPT to help you customize it. But essentially, all of the 4 steps on this slide here are going to be present within this prompt right here. So if you take a moment to look through this and actually get it working for your own test use case, you'll be able to see exactly what's going on behind the scenes here, and this will just save you a ton of time when it comes to prompt engineering. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know down in the comments if you're finding everything helpful so far. Alright, so with that said, we can actually move on to step 2, which is where we start to focus on the tools of the trade here. And this is where I'm going to take you through my top 3 AI voice tools that you'll be able to use for just about any use case that you're looking to build here once you've nailed them down with your AI audit. So we have 3 platforms I'm going to be taking you guys through today. Number 1 is Vapi, number 2 is Retell, and number 3 is Ultravox. Now these do vary quite a bit from each other, and I'll try my best to really break them down and capture some of the nuance behind why you might choose one over another. And if you want to see me working through some of these myself, you can go ahead and check out my channel's homepage, because I've got plenty of voice agent videos where I've worked with both Vapi and Retell. And I've got some planned in the future for Ultravox, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we're going to cover all 3 of these tools in depth, and I'm going to walk you through how you can actually choose one. So number 1 is going to be Vapi. This is one of the most popular AI voice tools on the market right now. However, this one tends to not be all that beginner friendly, but the good news is that this gives you maximum control over how your conversations go, and it's really fantastic if you're interested in getting into the more technical side of things. So one thing I will say here is that this pricing per minute is actually not accurate. You'll see numbers like 5 to 7 cents per minute on Vapi, but in reality, if you double this will give you a much clearer picture of what your costs will end up being. But the pros when it comes to Vapi is it really does act like your Swiss Army knife for voice agents. Their API use goes pretty deep. They allow for a lot of tool calling flexibility. You can bring in your own LLMs, have multilingual support, and it's all around a really strong resource if you're looking to get deep into voice agents. But if you're not so much of a technical person and you're trying to whip up a use case as quickly and cost effectively as possible, then these next 2 solutions will probably be better for you. Alright, now next up we have Retell, and Retell really shines when it comes to scalability and high volume enterprise cases. So if you value compliance, for example, and data protection, then Retell tends to really shine here. And in addition, their costs start around 7 cents per minute, and their pricing models are a lot more transparent than Vapi's are. So when you combine their pricing with their scalability and their ease of use, this is really one of my favorite beginner AI voice platforms. And again, if security is a priority or you need to include any of these features within your voice agents themselves, then Retell is going to make this extremely easy for you. So next up we have Ultravox, and this is one of the lesser known AI voice players in the market right now. Not a lot of people are talking about this one, but there's a lot of power behind this system right here. And where it really shines is in scalability and also making sure your conversations are as human as possible, which are both, in my opinion, 2 of the most important aspects when it comes to building out voice agents. So in comparison to the first 2 platforms we looked at, Ultravox will only cost you 5 cents per minute, which is pretty amazing considering the different tools, the flexibility, and the freedom it really gives you scalability-wise. And because a lot of people hate talking to AI systems on the phone, optimizing for more human-like conversations, smoother transitions, and more emotion and empathy, this is probably going to be your top solution if you're looking to achieve a more authentic experience here. And likewise, we also have our function calling, our tool integration, even RAG systems built into Ultravox, so it makes things really easy for you. But in the end, I encourage you to try all of them out, compare their features yourself, and really figure out what's going to be best for you when it comes to what your use case is and how you plan on scaling it over time. Regardless of what voice platform you're using, N8N is going to be something that I keep returning to. So N8N isn't a voice platform itself, but it's rather an automation platform that allows you to essentially accomplish anything. So this is a perfect tool when it comes to building CRM connections to hook your voice agents up to, when it comes to having data flow and custom tools that your agents are able to use on the calls, and also for multi-step workflows that allow you to manage your leads better, do more complex scoring, and also if you're interested in connecting your AI voice agent to a larger ecosystem of AI automations that run throughout your entire business. And the fantastic thing about N8N is not just that you could essentially build anything you want to on it. It's also very cost efficient, it's open source, and they don't charge per workflow or per execution if you manage to host yourself. So N8N plus any of the 3 voice agent platforms that I just took you through will really allow you to build a bulletproof system here. And again, I have plenty of YouTube videos where I connect N8N to voice agents, so feel free to check my channel out if you're curious about diving into some actual use cases. Alright, so let's wrap this video up with step number 3, which is going to put everything that we've discussed so far together. And it'll tell you exactly what you can start doing from the moment you stop watching this video so you can get started mastering AI voice agents for yourself yourself within the next 30 days. And again, this is going to be something that you can follow no matter what your skill level is. So if you have, whether you have zero experience in AI voice agents, or you've actually built and implemented a few for yourself, this should give you a clear and easy game plan that you can either use or modify for your own use cases to make this process as painless as possible. So what you're looking at on screen right here is how I would recommend structuring your 30-day AI voice action plan. So regardless of which AI voice agent you end up choosing for your #1 priority, or what platforms you decide to build it on, this can be applied and adapted for essentially any use case. Week #1, we're going to be focusing on our foundation and our testing. So this is where you're going to complete your AI audit with yourself and your team, ask those 4 questions, and see how deep you can really dig to uncover new problems and really get all of your challenges out into the open. Once you manage that and you start to nail down some of your priorities, I also recommend that you sign up for at least one AI voice platform just to test it out, maybe paste in that prompt that I gave you earlier in the video and see how the call quality ends up being. Obviously, you could spend as much time diving into this as you want, but if you're sticking to the 30-day action plan, week #1 is going to be best spent if you can manage your audit and play around with at least one AI voice platform, at least on a very basic level. So week #2 is where we're going to start to build and iterate. This is where you can actually start working on your very first AI voice agent. So things like prompting, setting up your voice, maybe even building some basic tools. These are all going to be things that you start to focus on right now, even if it's just on a very basic level. Week 2 is also a good opportunity to do some internal testing. Get some of your team members, your friends or family members to even help you test out your AI voice agent, give you some real-world feedback, maybe identify a few errors, do some troubleshooting, and then you can move on to week #3. So once we actually move into week #3, you can actually begin thinking about running your first pilot launch. And since your first voice agent most likely won't be all that complex, it shouldn't take you all that long to move from phase #2 to phase #3 here. And this is something that you can actually test on a small number of your leads, say around 10%, to actually see how it performs. Keep an eye on some of your booking rates, your positive response rates, and actually take a look over these conversations themselves so you can see exactly what's happening in the background. This is a perfect opportunity to gather some real-world feedback to supplement everything you created in week #2. And with voice agents, long-term optimization is really where these start to shine. So I recommend collecting as much feedback as possible and using all of it to refine your prompts, refine your tools, and continuously make these voice agents stronger as you continue to learn more. But it's all a learning process, and make sure that you don't rush through any step here. All right, finally, week #4 is where we're starting to look at scaling and optimization. You'll probably have tested your AI voice agent in a real-world use case. You'll have some data on your hands to start optimizing around. You may have uncovered some bugs that you've jumped in and fixed. But regardless, this is where you really start to dial in your metrics, figure out which KPIs are the most important to you, and then connect each one to an improvement that you can make on your AI voice agent itself. And speaking of bugs, here's a little bonus for you guys, which is a little troubleshooting guide that you guys can use as sort of a cheat sheet. And these are just a few common issues that you might run into as a beginner when you're building your AI voice agents, so let me just take you through them one by one. So #1, you might notice the AI voice agent's not handling your objections well. The solution for this is actually adding objection handling into your prompt and teaching the agent how you want it to respond to specific objections. This will obviously be a prompt-focused improvement. #2 is if you notice any awkward dead air, you can actually adjust your voice activity detection, or you can do some optimizations within your prompt and within your structuring to actually reduce your latency. Either one of these could potentially help you. #3, if your agent loses context, you can actually implement conversation memory, and this could be something that's really helpful in customer support situations or places where context and being able to understand previous details is really important. And there are easy ways to actually implement AI voice memory. This can become a more advanced upgrade here, so feel free to put this feature off until you optimize some of the more basic and fundamental aspects of your agent first. And #4 is going to be low lead quality. So obviously your funnel could be what's bringing in low quality leads, which would be a separate issue altogether. But assuming the issue is related to your voice agent, you can actually go in there and tighten your qualification criteria and make sure that you're training that agent to qualify people as accurately as possible according to what actually separates a good from a bad lead in your case. Now finally, there's some people out there who just hang up on AI because they don't want to talk to it. There are a couple of ways to get around this, but the easiest would be to just be more transparent in your greeting. You can have your agents announce themselves as being AI in the beginning, and this really helps to overcome this issue. Also, in the long run, using tools like Ultravox allows you to make your conversations feel more authentic. You'll probably end up having less people object to this if your conversations are just higher quality overall. So these are just a couple things you can consider to make sure you're on the right track. Alright, so obviously we covered a lot in this video, so let me condense everything down into a first few steps so that you can walk away with something that you can actually take away and act on. So as soon as you're done watching this video today, you can jump straight into step #1 of running your own AI audit. So for this, you could gather up everybody who's on your team and everybody who could potentially have some input on the case. And you don't even need a lot of time to do this. You could spend 1 to 2 hours if you want to just have these conversations, or you could spend an entire day actually going over these concepts. Regardless, this is an easy entry step that you can either get done today or within the next few days. Number 2, once you run your audit, you're going to want to research your platforms, sign up for a few trials, and actually start playing around to get the hang of some of these interfaces here. No need to worry about building until we move into step number 3. So once you've used step 2 to nail down at least one tool you can use, step number 3, you can spend an entire week putting together your first voice agent. I've got plenty of prompts and setups that you could steal in my free community. If you want a head start, then go ahead and jump in there and take advantage of that. Finally, number 4, sometime within the next 30 days, you want to get your deployment out to the public in a pilot phase. Keep your initial tests as small and low risk as possible, and make sure that you've tested the agent plenty on your own before you hand it off to any real world leads. From here, you'll start gathering data, iterating your voice agent, and really making those improvements that'll help you scale in the long term. Alright, so that was a lot to cover in this video, so I hope you guys were able to get some value out of this one. This is a bit of a different style of video that I usually do on my channel. If you managed to watch all the way to the end and you enjoyed this one, then be sure to let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, I'd appreciate you dropping a like and a subscribe down below if you feel like this video is helpful to you in understanding how to actually implement voice agents in a real estate context. This really brings us back to that Sam Altman quote that I referenced in our intro, which is that the world will change much faster than most people think because of AI. And when we bring this down to earth and look at how it impacts us on a business level, voice AI isn't just something that we're going to be dealing with in the future. It's something that we're working on right now and something that we can take advantage of immediately. The agencies and the companies that are deploying these right now are really building moats around themselves that'll make it more difficult for the people who lag behind to catch up in the future. And for those reasons, the question isn't if you'll adopt AI. The real question is whether you'll be a leader or whether you'll have to catch up because you ignored these systems for way too long. But that about wraps up everything I wanted to share with you guys in this video. If you want to get a copy of this exact resource that you see on screen that I took you through, or if you want to copy any of my exact AI voice agent templates, go ahead and hit link number 1 to join my free community so you can gain access to all of these resources and a whole bunch more that I have in there. Otherwise, if you own a business, if you're in real estate and you want to build an AI agent or a voice system out for your business and you want my team and I to help you, go ahead and hit link number 2 to actually book a one-on-one call with me so we can actually meet up and discuss what AI could do for your business. Now, with all of that said, please let me know what you guys thought of this video down in the comments. Let me know if you got some value out of it, and best of luck to all of you guys who choose the next 30 days to start implementing your own AI voice agent. So I hope to see you guys soon, and with that, I'll catch you all in the next one.